Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Wealth Transfer TV. My name is Steve K. I'm the founder and president of Kasyanenko Ministries. And on the show today, we've got a special lady, Ihuaku Nweke, and she is the founder of Cedarcube.com. But more importantly, we're going to talk about that, but she has just won Entrepreneur of the Year. She's based in London. Now, this is a big deal. This is a really, really big deal. It's a big deal for several reasons. But when I saw that she won this award, I had to get her on the call, and I want to talk about some of the stuff she's doing. And she's an inspiration to me. And I think when you hang out with us today, as we had this conversation, you're gonna be inspired by her story. You're gonna be inspired by her vision, and her "I can do all things through Christ" attitude. So, Ihuaku, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you. Love the introduction.
Oh, there you go. It's a lot. She has a she. I got this introduction from Dr. J. He works with us, and it's pages long because you've accomplished so much, and you've done.
Thank
And I'm like, if I read this, it'll be like this thick, like. Hold on, I'm on page 52, and then when she was 7, she won this award. So at the end of the day, here's what you all have to know about her. She won Entrepreneur of the Year, but she started this organization, a social enterprise called Cedar Cube. You can go to cedarcube.com. The link's below. And what I love about this is that she is all about creating strong family units, which, friends, my opinion. If you heard me before, if you hung out with me, I think the entire planet's gone to the toilet because the family unit is broken down. There's a fatherless society. There's the nuclear family is breaking down, and it is demonic. And I love that you have laid your life down in strengthening the family unit. So welcome, and tell us a little bit about how you got started in this, and what was the vision behind
you.
this. Was it because of your own past? How did this happen?
Okay, well, actually, it didn't quite start off exactly like that. So before I met my husband, basically God gave me this vision, and it was really about helping singles find a godly partner. So that's how it started. That
Men
was
and women,
around,
or just was it just women, or men and women?
it was men and women. It was both men and women.
So
And
it's
that
like
was
a dating guru.
kind of, yeah, something like that. But it was more like an introduction, like a Christian-based introduction and lifestyle, uh, you know, group and or like a club, as it were. And it was all about having different social events together, fellowshipping together in a fun way, not too churchy, but we did have that Christian foundation, and basically just doing things together and stuff. And actually, in the process of researching for Cedar Cube in that format, that was how I met my husband.
That's actually hilarious.
Yes. Yes, that's how I met my husband. And I tell you how I met my husband because I wanted to have a platform, an online platform where Christian singles could meet and people who were vetted as Christian people, and also socialize with them because we just didn't want to do things in church all the time. But we wanted to have things where we didn't want to take away the temptation of having to go to clubs and things like that. So meeting each other in a fun way. So back to how I met my husband. So I was researching and I was looking at some dating sites, trying to copy their algorithms and their processes to have, this online part of it. And in the process of doing that, I had to go from page to page. And to do that, I had to put in my details, my information. So I just put in box standard information just to move into the next pages. I didn't even add a picture. I didn't add a picture. So next thing I have is guys contacting me. And I was like, this was not why I wanted to get on this. Why are you even contacting me? My picture is not on here anyway. So some people are blanked. Some people I just, maybe met because it was convenient, said hello. But anyway, my husband, who at the time I didn't know he was going to be my husband, he contacted me. He sent me a couple of messages, which I completely ignored. And it was, I think it was about 2 months or almost 3 months going, and he kept on messaging. And then
hold on, he messages you, someone who doesn't have a picture. I mean, I would be afraid. No, first of all, I'm afraid to message someone with no pictures. I think you might be a man, right? Pretending to be a woman. Like there's so much. And then like you don't answer me. Like I'm like, I forget you. Like why am I like I don't need you. Like
no,
he's messaging you.
He insisted. And
is he there? Because I want to know what you said. Because you said something on your profile. Like, yeah, I have lots of money looking for the right guy,
Yeah. Okay, so I'll tell you what he said that got my attention. He put in this poem that said, he said something about, you're the bone of my bone and the flesh of my flesh. And he didn't put it directly from the Bible, but he made it into a poem. And I was like, okay, that looks interesting. So I messaged him back. We started calling each other. We didn't see each other for a month or so. And then we eventually met on the 1st of December, 2002.
Okay.
That was it.
No, he obviously he had seen a picture of you before he met you.
No, he hadn't. No, we had never seen each other's pictures. Even while we were talking.
that type of faith is nothing short of raising someone from the dead nowadays. Like going on a date without knowing the picture, you could have been a serial killer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But funnily enough, I mean, I met him. I was working as a researcher in Old Street in London, and I met him after work. And my meeting him was like, you know what? It was just basically a tick box of my day. Let's get this guy off my back once and for all, because I know I'm not going to like him. Let me just meet him and let's just go our separate ways. And that was it.
That sounds so sad. That sounds so sad.
That's what I was going to do. And it was love at first sight. And that was it. So
love at first sight. And
it was actually, yeah.
After you saw each other, did you get married?
2.5 years.
Well, that's a long love at first sight.
Yeah, it was. It would have been earlier, but my dad didn't want to marry us.
Well, that's sticky, right?
Yeah, we had a battle to go through after that with my dad.
What do you have to do? Do you have to give up his left arm or something to get the okay from your father? What
I mean, it was like hardly anything he did could please my father, because it was so bad that like we went back to Nigeria. He called from London to Nigeria, and it was quite expensive. And my dad would rain abuse on him and put the phone down.
I love your father. I can't wait to meet him. As a father of a daughter, I can tell you I admire the man. I may have to interview him, okay? No, go ahead. Yeah, so it's a hard time. That's really bad.
Unfortunately, my dad passed away about 6 months after we got married. We got married May 2005. My dad passed away December 2005 with pancreatic cancer.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yes, right. I wish he was here, but yeah, he was a force, my dad.
It sounds like it.
He was, yeah.
But tell me, okay, so you go from, because doing what you're doing, because you went from having this, app or this community of Christian singles, because you don't want to drop ecstasy and go clubbing all night, but you rather just hang out normally, have good conversations, maybe prayers.
Yeah.
So I love that, but how does it morph into what you're doing now? Because that's very different.
Very, very different. Okay, so I dropped it. I left Cedarcube. I wouldn't say I dropped it, but I left it to start a young family after we got married. put it, to one side. So for about 10 years. And then to 2015, I felt God was calling me to resurrect it again. And then I put together the blueprint for that, and that was had two sides to it. One was for singles, one was support for people who were already married. Because being married, I realized that once you're married, you also need support. It's not just about get you the partner. Forget, we want to have the sustainable, Christian marriages. So at the time, very close to the time when I picked up the vision, a potential business partner stepped in as well. Now, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, what happened, but it changed the direction a little bit. And we basically, although the vision then was to have singles and married, but we realized that there was a huge challenge with the singles market. And the huge challenge was that it was about women where basically there was more women, about 80 to 20% of men. And
there were 8 women for every 2 men.
Something like ridiculous like that, or it was
really
disproportionate. Yeah, completely disproportionate. And
did you ever find out? I'm curious from a business standpoint. What is that? What was that? Do you know? Is that across the board in that industry, in the dating industry? Do most places, like, I don't know, Tinder or whatever, do they have more women than men? Is that how that works?
I think so. Generally, population wise, there are more women than men.
Yeah, but this is completely disproportionate. So is it a cultural thing that more Christian women sought that out? Or is there or is it throughout all the dating sites, there's always a disproportionate amount of women to men?
Generally, there is a disproportion. I may be exaggerating a little bit, but there is a disproportion to women to men. But also within that type of the type of dating that we wanted to do, men didn't really want to put themselves, expose themselves as looking, because we wanted to have social events where we could, match people, and men were quite reticent in coming forward to expose themselves to being in that state of searching for a partner.
Why is it? Is it because it's too vulnerable? It makes them too vulnerable?
I think so. I think so. I think so. They'll be looking, but they'd want to be a little bit more hidden and discreet.
I can see that. I could see that.
Yeah.
I can see that as a man.
Yeah.
Totally. All right. So you bring this partner on, and you realize, hey, there's an issue here with the singles part, and now what happens?
So when we realized that we couldn't really charge people for the service I wanted to give and deliver on that service because of that disproportion, we felt that it was too difficult. It was just too hard. There were forces outside of what we could control to be able to deliver that. So we decided to focus on the married people. So hence, my partner at the time, she went on to moved on to other things. So here I am again, carrying this vision, slightly different from what the initial vision, but still carrying it. And I think 2018 for me was a very defining moment actually for that, because my partner, the partner was with me for 2 years, left in 2017. I had to redefine everything. And that was where Healing Hearts, Strengthening Families came from. And this really strong family focus, came along to heal, bond, empower, and connect. That's really where I got that vision for it. I went back to the drawing board, and God gave me that template about sort of to heal, bond, empower, and connect families.
You call it the 4 main pillars: heal, bond, empower, and connect.
Correct.
And okay, so how do you as an entrepreneur, I know the effort it takes to shift and to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me how did you get funding? How did you get finances for this one?
Mm-hmm.
Is it bootstrapped or did you get outside funding? And
Mm-hmm.
then two, tell me how you found the first family or single mother to help.
Okay. So, in terms of financing, it's pretty much bootstrapped, and with my entrepreneurialness in terms of self-funding, people like if I have an event, then people will just buy the tickets. With the recent one I did, which was physical. So what I've done since then, there's been a few workshops which basically maybe schools have given their space for me to use their, to do those in. There've been a few donations. A lot of it have been bootstrapped though. But with this particular last event, which you saw the video for, there were some sponsors. So I sought out sponsors, ticket price, because I was offering a lot more like food, canapes, and there was just a lot going on. So tickets prices were a little bit higher to cover all that. So I think these templates that I've used for the last event really works, because I found that businesses were actually very willing to sponsor, like give cash sponsorships. Um, and then in the future, I'll be looking at that as well as grants. So I'm looking at changing the structure to a community interest company, which is very similar to a charitable company. And then that would enable to get more government funding. So that would be planned from 2024 up.
Does
I can't,
government
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, does government funding, do you find, because I know a bunch of people that have nonprofits, organizations like yours, and do you
Mhm.
find that getting government funding ties your hands? Does it allow you to execute the vision you still want fully?
Sometimes it doesn't, because I have received government funding for, or lottery funding for, some other projects that I've done in the past. And I find that their objectives are can be very stringent, and you need to really meet those objectives. But I think you need to really look for funding where it aligns with your vision. Sometimes people, compromise that just
I,
to
I
get
agree.
them running.
I agree. That's why I'm asking. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
why not get private funding? Like, why not ask us to fund instead of going to government? I'm curious. What's the major benefit of going through the government?
Um,
You,
well, the
isn't exactly Christian friendly either, by the
no,
way.
they're not. They're not. A lot of them, they want to be a bit more sort of like they want you to open up your requirements to others, and like you said, it can compromise your vision. So for me, I haven't really sought government funding because I'm not that structured yet. But if I were to look for government funding, I would make sure that it's not one that compromises the vision of Cedar Cube. And like I said, seeking private funding has been very, very fruitful. And I plan to use that a lot more, especially people who are aligned to the vision of Cedar Cube.
So tell me, if someone goes, by the way, friends, let me show you what I'm looking at. This is the website here. You can click the link below. I'm at the about us. So someone comes here,
Mhm.
and first of all, who's contacting you? Who should go here to the site?
It should be basically anyone, families mainly. Like I get a lot of mostly women contacting me,
Of course.
people who require counseling of some sort.
And
Um,
what kind of counseling are you offering? Do you Yeah, what kind of counseling are you offering?
Mostly it will be people who want relationship counseling, like some advice within their
This
relationship.
this is not an emergency type of counseling, or counseling to get out of an abusive relationship. These are other things. This is like counseling for.
Yeah, I would get that. Sometimes you did touch on the Single Mothers Benevolent Fund is also tied to people who are in abusive relationships. So I have also received requests, emergency requests for counseling for people who are distressed in one way or the other. So and sometimes they don't even know I exist, so they wouldn't come to the website. It's basically for one reason or the other. I don't know. I wouldn't say I attract them, but somehow maybe it's a radar or something. I'm on the lookout, you know. So I give you an example. On a Facebook group, I came across a lady who basically put out a post that she was about to take poison to commit suicide. So I called her on Messenger and I was like, why do you want to take poison? What's going on? And she basically told me two things. One was financial difficulties, the other one was relationship difficulties. With her partner, she was in an abusive, marriage. So basically, she became someone I cancelled through that. Helped her through talking her through the relationship issues, but also tried to work her through the empowerment side, like I said, of what we do, right? So there was the healing side in terms of counseling, but there's also the empowerment side. So I said, well, what do you do? How can we help? So there was sort of like an immediate cash injection because I couldn't wait to raise all the funds for her needs at that time. So,
Well, that's interesting. So you raise funds based on individual needs. Is it kind of like sponsoring a child? I don't mean to make it that way, but it's kind of like, here's a situation, here's the need, like that.
Yes, most of the time when I do a funding call, I would put a story behind it. So I will say, this is the need. We have this woman who basically is in this situation. She's looking to start a business so that she can be self-sufficient. Or it could be, oh, here's this lady, and that's the Single Mothers Benevolent Fund. So here's this lady who is struggling they're traveling miles to get her kid to school. They would like to change the school, but they need to be rehoused. So I would raise funds for the rehousing, for instance. So I would make it quite specific in terms of the fundraising.
I love it. I think that's the way it should be. It's relational. It's you get to know someone, right? You know where your money's going,
Yeah.
what the specific situation is. So they make a donation to your organization. You give them the receipt, and you take whatever overhead you're using, and then the rest goes to her. And
Yeah, correct.
do you require some sort of accounting from the person receiving the donation, like where the money went? Like, what if you gave the lady some money, she blew it on heroin? How do you know it's being used for what it's supposed to be used for?
Well, what they will do is that they will keep me, most of the people that I've helped so far, they've kept me updated. And they've said, we've now moved house. Here we are in our new place. I've paid for it. Thank you so much. And they've usually send a thank you note or video to all the people that helped make that happen.
And do you help with job placement? Do you help with uh, ongoing education? Like maybe they have to learn how to use Word or something like that. Do you help with that? Do you have a network there?
Yeah, that's the plan. So if somebody says there's a need and they want that help, then the plan is whatever the help is, that I can reach out to my network and partners and connect them to someone. So right at the moment, what I've been able to do immediately is get a whole load of secondhand clothes to that lady. They start reselling secondhand clothes to generate cash to help themselves so that they're not always looking for the handouts. And then we start working in the background on whatever their passion might be. So their passion might not be selling those clothes.
No,
It
I
might be
love it.
something.
I love it because giving the food or giving the clothes doesn't work. You
Yeah,
so you are really empowering them, saying, hey, look, you could sell these clothes for a bunch of money, and then
yes,
that's so you could survive. Now, what is your passion? What is your desire? And you're empowering them
yeah,
and equipping them to pursue that.
correct. Yes. So I
That
coach them.
oh, I'm giving you a hug. Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
I
thank you.
thought
So
I thought London was like Sodom and Gomorrah, and here I found one person there. No offense, Janice, England, but that's doing something amazing there.
thank you. Thank you. So yeah, work with them and find that. And that's really one of my, when I say skills, um, that's one thing I'm very good at, or God has anointed me to do, is to see what people are good at and bringing that out. So I coach them through that, and for instance, that lady who was about to commit, so she's an excellent case study. So went through that journey. She got rehoused through our funding, sent her a whole lot of clothes. She was very entrepreneurial. She just needed the opportunity. So she started reselling. She was giving me accounts, what she was doing. Oh, I've sold this. This is what I've made now, and all that stuff. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then she used some of that money to start a laundry business for her mother. Yeah, I
Wow.
know.
So she went from wanting to kill herself
Yes.
to now impacting her family.
To impacting her family, impacting her mom. So that meant her mom wasn't always relying on her for money. And she also started another business through the funds of selling dried packaged meat. So she'll buy all this meat in bulk, like dried meat, and then she'll repackage them. She put her label on it and she was reselling them. So she started that business as well.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Brilliant. I love it. I love it.
Thank
Um,
you.
Castanets, we are all about the family. I have a real heart for single moms, to be honest, and
Mhm,
uh,
mhm.
but also leaving generational wealth, and creating recurring revenue. And what I'd like to do is, at your discretion, I'd like to give away
Mhm.
three $1,000 harvest packages from Castanets to whoever you have there, and those
Right.
$3,000 harvest packages turn into so $1,000 package turns into 3,000.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like getting $3,000 for free, and
Wow.
starts in January. And I would like to commit as the Cashiness president to
Wow.
giving this to three. You pick
Oh
the
my
three,
God.
whoever needs it. And what happens is we create the account, we put the 1,000 in there, and they get paid out every quarter. They get paid, so it creates cash flow for them in crypto until it gets to $2,000, right, or three
That
thousand.
is, oh my God.
So, like,
See,
this woman would be perfect. We'll talk after this interview. We'll connect you
yeah,
with Mark, and
yeah,
over the next
yeah.
few weeks, we launch it in 1 month. And
Hmm.
my heart is
It's
is really
amazing.
to do what you're doing, which is to empower, especially single moms, right?
Absolutely.
Or how about the family, or just a family that is struggling just to
Yes,
make it month to month.
that
No,
would be
they have
amazing.
this that's a kind of like a retirement safety thing that they have, and it's a great investment. It's done in crypto, and I hope that encourages them to continue. So we'll do that
Course.
with three ladies. That's our commitment.
Oh my God. That is huge. That is huge. That is huge. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah,
That
and we're
is
gonna bring
huge.
him on. We're gonna bring him on, because I want to support this. I want to support.
Thank you.
It is imperative.
Thank you so much.
There's a lot of money and organized money. There's a lot of
Mm,
money, organized money that is literally trying to destroy family. They are
mm.
trying to destroy marriage. They're trying to
Oh,
destroy
yes.
family.
Oh,
And
yes.
so when I see someone like yourself uh trying to strengthen that,
Yes.
that's why cash nets exist, right? We exist all the money that we make, the profits that we make through
Yes.
everything we do goes to funding
Right.
organizations like yourselves.
Amazing.
So that's great. And when is your next event? You got a family summit next year? Because
Yeah,
you've
we
had
do.
one, right?
Oh, that would definitely be, that's an annual feature. I mean, people wanting it like another one in 3 months, but it takes quite a while to organize and it is a lot of effort. So we'll definitely have that next year. And I would like to invite you as well to come.
Oh, it would be my pleasure. I was just going to ask, let us know so we can help promote it for you.
That
We
would be great.
got a lot of contacts in Europe, in the UK area,
Yeah,
and we'd love to get people out there.
that would be fantastic. And
Yeah.
I'm here, I'm forming strategic partnerships with different organizations. And Castets is definitely aligned in so many ways, in the spiritual sense, financial sense, family in all those ways. And that I would, love to have that partnership with Castets.
Amen.
Yes.
I have a prophetic question for you.
Mm-hmm.
When are you writing your book?
I have committed to launching my book next summer.
You
I've
have.
committed.
I really heard the Lord say, ask her when she's writing her book. When are you writing your book? We need to know this. So this is great.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
This is
The,
great.
the Lord is
Oh,
holding me to account to this book.
yeah, because
God
he
is
just
holding.
said to me, ask her when she's writing her book. I'm like,
Oh my
okay. How do
Okay,
I?
guys.
I don't even know if she is writing her book.
Oh my God. Oh God. God is holding me to account to this book. Okay, so in the event that I had on the 26th, I did a pre-launch of the book. It was supposed to be a launch.
Okay.
I did a pre-launch of the book and I read the first chapter.
Oh, so you've
And
read part of it already.
yes, that was a pre-launch.
What's the name of the book?
The Awakening of Purpose Through Passion and Pain.
Oh, 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 hurts so good through passion and pain.
Yes.
If people only knew how true that is, only us older folk know how true that is.
Oh,
Right?
yes.
Young bucks have no idea.
They have no
Oh, they have
idea.
no idea.
No, they
Oh,
don't.
purpose
They
through
don't.
passion and pain. There's no other way.
Yes.
That is the
There is no
only.
other way. There is no other way. So this book, God, I hear you. I will finish this book. I'll have to finish this book this site. Well, I mean by January, February, and then I plan to launch it in the summer. So I've already committed to that. Yeah,
I love it. I love it.
thank you.
That would have been terrible if, yeah, I don't plan on writing a book. I don't
Oh
want
my God.
to. That is
You obviously hearing God clearly. He knows.
I
And
love it.
this book is in a yeah.
Our community, they're leaders, right? They're ministers, they're heads of ministry, pastors, business owners. What, based on your journey so far,
Mhm.
um, what's a bit of wisdom you can give to all us aspiring entrepreneurs? What have you learned through pain on your journey fulfilling your purpose? What have you learned? I know that there's many. Rattle off
There's
a couple. There's a
there's
lot. It's like every day, it's like, oh man, that was painful, but at least I learned that.
yeah. So for me, I would say that God doesn't waste anything.
He doesn't
And
waste anything.
he definitely doesn't waste our pain.
Doesn't waste our. That's great. So it's
Yeah.
not for nothing.
It's not for nothing.
Uses
Our
it all.
pain. Yes, he uses everything. Everything. If we look in my deepest, darkest moment, I would say the worst year I've had in years, 2018. That was the year God gave me Heal, Bond, Empower, and Connect. That was the year I started writing my book, right? That was the year God gave me a download for this book. That was when it started, 2018. But also that year, the year started with my son breaking his no. First of all, my car fell in a ditch in January, around the 22nd of January. 2 days later, my son broke his foot. Meanwhile, I hadn't worked since the previous September, and I wasn't to work for another 18 months. And so it was very snowy that year. Started off with a lot of ice and snow. And I was taking 3 boys to school, one in crutches, waiting on the bus every day, waiting for the bus every day. And I'd walk to school to go and bring them back again, one with crutches. My husband had an operation that year, a very severe operation, 5 hours. And we lost the family business that my dad started. So this is just a few examples of the things that happened, that year. But
in that fire, there's there's diamonds, right?
There's diamonds.
And one of them was the 4 pillars you mentioned.
The 4 pillars. God, I went back and I really heard God clearly, very clearly that at that time, and that was he gave me those 4 pillars, and he gave me this download where I wrote chapters and chapters of my book. So, like I said, he doesn't waste any pain, and that pain, it also gives us experience. It makes us wise. It makes us stronger. And it shows us that we're not going to die. Because sometimes when things are happening, we think this is the end of us. We're going to die. But that shows
how can I survive this? Yes. How am I going to survive this, right?
That's right. And that happens a lot with entrepreneurs. We have it's very difficult to be an entrepreneur. It's like, but what it teaches us is resilience. And it teaches us new skills. We learn new skills. Every time we have a tough time, we learn new skills. One, we learn that we can come out at the other side. 2, we know how to do it better. We've gone through that cycle. What causes fear is when you don't know what's on the other side.
Exactly. It's the not knowing.
It's the not knowing.
It's the not knowing.
But when you go through it, you know what the steps you took, and you know that there is something else at the other side. You're going to be fine.
Yeah. Thank you for adequately describing us as a people group. I think entrepreneurs are miracle workers. We have to walk on water every single day. That's and we don't have time to worry about how we look, that. We got to do it, man.
You got to do it.
I've got a staff. I've got a community. People are counting on me. I don't have time to say, holy crap, I'm walking on water. I just have to do it.
You just have to do it.
And it's a normal. And I tell people, being an entrepreneur is very much like preaching the gospel. I was preaching a couple of days ago, and I called someone out who's in a wheelchair to get up. You need to have faith. It's the same thing being an entrepreneur. You think, when I think you started this, right? The thing is, well, so many people have thought of doing what you're doing, yet you did it.
Yes.
You did it. And it's just taking your faith, taking that vision, and it's seeing what God showed you and having the courage not to just acknowledge it, but to take action and step toward it.
That's it.
And that's the difference. And that's what you do very well. Thank you for modeling that. And you better finish that book.
Oh, I will. I have to.
2018. I'm a little upset it's taking this long. People need to hear your voice. People need to hear the message that God gave you. You got to get over yourself and just do it.
I have to. And one thing that being an entrepreneur showed me is that when the chips set down and when I have to do it, I have to do it. Right? Even if it's staying up till 4 a.m. And that's the kind of attitude I need to write my book. You see? So
I see. I had a company where we did this, and we created 100 #1 Amazon bestsellers, 100 of them. There's an algorithm that there's a system to get yourself to #1. I had people write a book in 2 weeks.
Wow.
And put this thing in Amazon, and it hits #1, and then they're looking for a publisher, and publishers are calling them, and then Amazon's publishing it for them, and in Create Space, and your voice needs to be heard. There are people who are waiting to hear the revelation that you have. So I want to encourage you to do that. And then when you have that book, you're going to come back on the show, please.
I will.
Let's talk about that thing. Let's talk about the process, this pain and process of going of purpose. I love that title. I really do.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to come speak with us.
Thank you, Steve. It's
You're
been
such
such
a
a pleasure.
you're an inspiration, really an inspiration. Guys, go to cedarcube.com. Go check that out over there. And follow her on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So cedarcube.com. Go check it out. Now, y'all don't know this, but there's another thing she has. She has a thing called icollection.com. And are you some sort of fashion designer mogul? I mean, did you design these things that I'm looking at yourself?
I did. I designed those things. This is my gift. So this I talk about all this and how it all comes together in my book, right? So that's the
You see why
passion.
it has to come out? Look at this. Look at this.
Yes.
Guys, don't you know what I love about you is you don't put yourself in a box.
No,
Right? You
I
didn't
don't.
say you didn't put you're creative. You said I'm just going to do it. Christ, I can do all things through Christ within me.
Yeah.
And you created this all yourself. This is your
Yes.
own stuff.
Yes. I designed all of them. I make handmade jewelry. This is, I believe everybody has a gift. I believe everybody has a gift that God has given them. For some people, is writing. Mine is definitely fashion and design. It comes very naturally to me. And I think God takes pleasure when we use our gifts. And I believe, God is creative. He created us. So God takes pleasure when we use our gifts. It's like a father and I put this in my book, where you give your child a gift, you want to see them using that gift.
Yeah,
And
of
yes,
course.
absolutely. And that is the passion side.
So, what is it that you think that what is certainly fear, right? I'm trying to ask, like, what do you think stops people? Because most Christians I meet don't lack vision, right? They don't lack vision. They know their giftings. What
Yeah.
they're lacking is how do I do it? So, what is that thing that's preventing them? Because, like, you also lacked how, but you found out how. I lacked how, but I found out how. So, what is that thing that's missing for them to get started?
I'll say faith and discipline.
Oh,
And discipline is tied to diligence. So faith is what stops them from starting. Discipline and diligence is what stops them from carrying on.
yo, that's wisdom right there, friends. That is wisdom right there. And I'll even add, if faith, you don't got the faith, then that's a trust issue. You got a
Yeah.
trust issue with
They
God.
can't trust,
You
they don't
don't.
trust themselves.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
I always say people often say, yeah, but what if I fail? And
that's
what
it.
say? And I have said this often. I said, if I look back in my life, I don't regret the times I failed. My only regrets are the times I could have done something and I didn't. My regret is
Absolutely.
I could have tried and I didn't. I had an idea, I didn't execute. At least
Yeah,
if I have something I tried, it doesn't work. Okay, I know.
yeah.
I'm not upset about that. It's I look back in my life and I think, oh man, I had an opportunity, I
Hmm.
didn't take it, and I wish
Yes,
I did. And that's
that's
what I regret the most.
exactly. And the Bible said that the righteous shall be bold as a lion. But how many of us do really have that lion faith to to basically step out in the vision that God has given us? We doubt ourselves so many times, and that's what holds people back from starting in the first place.
Agreed.
Mhm.
Agreed. Friends, just do it. Just
Just do it.
thank you so much for coming on, having a conversation with us. I can't wait to read
Thank you,
your book.
Steve.
And we're going to be in contact because we're going to sponsor 3 families. We're going to give them the
Yes,
$1,000 harvest membership, which doubles.
amazing,
And
amazing.
Mark or Dr. J will connect with you with that. And God bless you on all
Thank you,
your
Steve.
other endeavors.
Thank you so much. I'm really grateful to have this conversation with you. I'm so grateful for the sponsorship. It's absolutely amazing. Um, Thank you for what you do, and just basically giving us the chance to talk about what we do and
Amen.
spread the word.
Amen. You're an
Thank you.
inspiration. People need to
Thank you.
hear your story. They get inspired, right? The testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. They hear your story and they say, hey, I could do the same.
Yes, absolutely. I want to end with this, just to encourage someone, and why they should actually walk in their vision and their passion that God has given them. So mine is fashion. I've received some awards, but not as much as I would if I really, really put my foot on the gas on it the way God will want me to. Everything you see is just a little bit. I know myself and I know what God has put in me, and I know where He wants to take me, because I see dreams all the time of what I could be doing with my fashion. I could be doing more. But I want to tell people that you will know where God has put you because your gift makes room for you. And this is what's happened to me with my fashion. Even though to me, I haven't done as much as I would like in it. I mean, I've been on Vogue with that brand, Eye Collection. And then Steve was talking about an award on the in the beginning of November. So I went over to Rhode Island, and I actually thought I was just going for I was shortlisted for an award, and I was just going there for the connections and just to learn something, right? And I ended up winning the award.
Out of 22,000 out of 22,000 businesses.
Correct.
22,000, she won.
I won that award, and
glory to God.
That was a personal message to me from God to say, this is your path. You're on the right path, and you will know what your path is, because God will encourage you in that path, and that path will open doors for you. So I just want to encourage someone, if you're thinking about it, and just go ahead and do it, and don't fear failure, because God has given us the faith to go out and actually walk in our purpose and our passions. So just do it.
Exactly. He's already given you everything you need.
Absolutely.
Now just activate the faith.
Yes. Just do it. Just walk on it. And the more you walk on it, the more you will, it will be revealed. The next step will be revealed, and you go from glory to glory. That's just how it works.
You make it sound so easy.
It's not easy. It is not, but you just have to do it.
Simple, but it's not easy. That's true. It is simple, but it's not easy.
But it's not easy. Yes.
Oh, thank you for coming on and encouraging us. I'm inspired. Everybody, click the link below. Go check her site out. We got both links, so you can take a look at all these accessories. I unfortunately am not going to order anything from your fashion catalog because my wife would say something's wrong with me.
No problem at all. No problem. Maybe I'll make you something.
There you go.
For you and your wife.
I love it. You could subscribe to her newsletter, but definitely get into cedarcube.com. Go check that out. And we will have her on very, very soon, hopefully talking about her new book. God bless you and have
God bless you too, Steve.
See you guys.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.